Hey y'all, I May Destroy You episodes 9 and 10. This is going to be a little longer, so buckle in. The first is social media is a great way to connect. It highlights how Arabella, Michaela Cole, is using social media too much in a way that she's ignoring people that are right there present with her. Her friends T and KWAME, even though they're super supportive of her. Graciously, I'm glad she went in and got a CT scan. She stops while the doctor is giving her results to go on Instagram with the pictures in her chest saying, "Look, guys, you have to love yourself or you can always love others." Oh my word. Who are these people? I don't know. I'm sure I do know them closer to me than I can imagine. But I have such a personality, ain't nobody trying it. Because we're in a professional capacity. This is what you do. Oh, but don't worry, y'all. As much as I want to go in on her for going live at that moment or even posting, the doctor deserved it. Because ultimately he's like, yo, I'm less concerned about that and more concerned about your kidneys. And given that you're Afro Caribbean, this could be you being predisposition to a problem. And she was like, whoa, that's only racially ignorance. And it really was. It shocked me how he just said it so boldly, so directly, so confidently, without asking, without question, without tribble, and was content in saying, "Oh, well, the forms." Well, bitch. I mean, y'all, I don't know if you heard that sleep. It just went out of my mouth. But forms are forms. You literally don't have forms that allow people to designate or self disclose, self identify whom they are and how they acknowledge themselves in the world. So, what you expected me to check? But she's like, no, I'm African. He's like, I'm sorry. It's just a term used on the reports. And if it's got something to do with the form, report me to somebody in the pharmaceutical network or corporate that can fix this. Yo, I was just, look, shout out to Michaela Cole. And I know y'all are going to get tired of me saying this. For putting this in the script. It genuinely shows this is why we need different voices from different places all over the world being able to have access to television and processes because it matters. I'm limited in my scope, and it's so funny. Today, one of my Facebook memories dealt with me being in Paris 3 years ago, August 2017, for the second time. Whatever, we've been there multiple times, but for the second time we ran into this guy from Senegalese, and let's not even get started how he interacted with my friends and I, all girls at that point, like the guys in the group were not there, but he was still wholly disgusted. You haven't got married yet? And it's like it wasn't enough to even hear him say or hear me explain, well, as a widow, is it okay if I filter? Is it okay if I find the right person? I'm not just getting married for the sake of getting married because I don't want to be alone. But hey, maybe that's what some guys are doing. Maybe that's the people he know have been doing. But he was very sweet to us. He was a salesman on the street corner in front of Diablo. I want to, anywho, in front of one of the museums. I genuinely forget which one. And y'all are going to make fun of me for mispronouncing the pyramid. Because I really, when I tell y'all my bad patois is horrible, I learned Spanish on purpose, not French, given my heritage. And that was intentional and I meant it, but I also saw what was coming. Less people speaking French, more people speaking Spanish. And I want y'all to know again, I am regular black. I'm not Creole, I'm not Cajun. I don't, I can tell you through my parents' lineage. It's not just I'm choosing to alienate or disregard. No, I'm just brought up. You don't claim what you ain't. Simple as that. You don't claim a neighborhood. You ain't got no affiliation to things of that nature. So I'm so glad that Michaela Cole points it out as Arabella. Is used to describe my origin. We have shared cultural, but we're two different people. So it's like, how do you not see this, get this, or know this in 2020? You know what I mean? And it really matters. Given it's not where I'm from, it's used to describe my origin. That's why she explains it to the doctor. And he's like, I didn't know. Oh, whatever. Oh, it makes you question, and I'm glad we're getting more data and established reports out documented science saying, children, little babies, survive infant mortality 5 times greater when they have a black doctor if they're black. Because it's not just knowing, oh, culturally this is acceptable or unacceptable, but it's also that care and concern. Essentially, people dismiss you when you come in. If y'all don't know, they believe we experience pain a lot less than everybody else. It's like my race. You think because I'm black, I can tolerate pain more? Y'all, I don't like any pain. That's just number one. Back to the I may destroy you. This is useful because, they show context again of consent in various places. Do I consent to be your friend and hang out with you all day and put up with you ignoring me? As your friend, now we're choosing Halloween costumes, and they only have one set of angel wings, and even though it's Halloween, we all knew it was coming. People stop her in the street. Even, I guess, a questioning or queer black man, and her same queer black friend, or maybe he's officially gay. I'm sorry, I'll look up definitions again. But KWAME is openly out, and he's even offended. Like, I don't care about you being abused by some white man years ago when you were a child. And he goes over to Terry to mock it, and it's like, oh, you're saving my life. Give me new followers. And that's the exchange here. The power is in the followers. I talked about it in the previous episode because her friend brought it up to her at the birthday party she was hosting for Terry, which is, look, even social media is all about the power exchange. The dynamic is there. Y'all, that's a big issue behind rape and sexual assault. It is simply not, in science, this is not about me in my opinion, but in science, it is not simply about, oh, I want this feeling of sexual release or gratification. It's I get this arousal, gratification, and release by having this power dynamic, by wielding this power over you, by being able to exude what it is I want out the situation. We go and fast forward to them going out to paint, and Bella tries to make it all about a movement, and her friends question, when the hell did it become a movement? It's just some paint and sip. We're out here doing wine. I'm grateful that T is like, yo, no phone. I understand why she wants to get, images of it. But I'm also one of those people, I'm in the moment. I'm not good at just, let's stop, take pictures. I just don't do it, okay? I definitely don't take pictures of my food to post. And I'm yelping. So, child, help me. I got to eat. I ain't got time for all this. And I got to be able to tell you if something was right or wrong. But I will take pictures of my receipts. But anywho, Bella questions, wait a minute. So she called you a faggot beforehand, or after you stuck your penis in her and shot up a load, then you revealed you were gay? Which one is this? I'm not using a derogatory term. I'm repeating what's said in the show. And he's like, yeah, she just casually used faggot. And, T's questioning, yeah, it does make you wonder how people talk about you when you're not around. What do they really say? Bella's confused and trying to get the sequential order here. And she picks up on something's out of order here, but you had penetrative sex with someone under false pretenses, KWAME. I didn't think I had friends like this. How fake are you? That's just wrong, and how dare you? And you should feel like crap. I'm glad eventually it's brought to everyone's attention, even though like Arabella's feeling pressure from everybody around her. In this environment, she's not allowed to use vaping. Terry's reminding her no one should use this phone, but she's also being dismissive to even Terry, which is you've never experienced rape, so you don't have a say here. And it's like, whoa. I honestly get it. It is an open sore for anyone who has experienced rape, assault, any kind of victimization. I'm also an advocate of individuals can have an opinion on things without you feeling attacked. Unless they are trying to attack you. But people with no kids, they can speak up on people with kids. I hate when folks go, well, you don't have kids, so you don't know what it's like. Trust me, they don't know the innate operations of every day-to-day of rearing children and dealing with those personality dynamics. However, this person once upon a time was a child. At some point, this person may have babysat. At some point, this person is still a human, and humans have emotions, so they can speak to some things. But I'm not one of those people who are like, oh, well, kids lie because they don't feel like they can trust the environment to tell the truth. Hell, kids lie because today is Saturday. Kids lie because they got breath in their body. Let's work with that. And if you have children, kids will just lie because they have nothing else to do. And in their little brains, it made all the sense in the world. You would really appreciate it once you become an adult and you're looking back, listening to these stories that the little liar is just giving you. And you're like, wait, what? In what world? Why did that make sense to you? And you try not to take it personally. You just go, you know what? I love you with everything in my body. I'm going to just walk with you on this one. And I'm going to help you understand this isn't acceptable going forward. All right? Anyway, Bella calls out Kwame's behavior is too far. T calls it out. Well, you locked him in that room. I kind of touched on this in the prior one because this was so like a standout moment to me that it had to be said. Bella leaves. She ultimately connects with the counselor from the rape center and she talks about it. And she walks away from the notion of social media. She sees herself as a truth teller who has to be online and do all these things. And no, actually, the therapist helps her see, conversely, you could be putting out one reality to the world based on your reality of the world. And in principle, you could be showing something totally different than what you even intend to. Okay? Hey y'all, just throwing it out there, 90 days, you won't see this. I'm going to physically start working out. And I'm like, is that a chin? Oh, Jesus. Okay. So anyway, I'm all worried about other numbers like A1C and glucose. But that chin is going to motivate me as well. At any rate, I'm very proud that Arabella shows she can disconnect from social media. She shuts everything down. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. At some point, she goes home, goes under her bed, and that's what I learned. She hides everything under that bed. So she's had an abortion. I'm pro-choice. You don't have to like it. You don't have to agree. I just don't choose it for me. And in being pro-choice, I did wonder. So she kept the diaper, I guess they give you after you have an abortion, and a sonogram. I'm sure it had to be a choice that was hard for her to make. But even being asked, are you having regret? She's like, no. And he just washes it off as, well, sometimes difficult choices are best for us. And I think she was trying to portray that was such a male response. Because women can empathize with this just a little bit. But anyway, Arabella's honest enough to go, she just went and did it and moved on with her life and never looked back. So what I'm learning, as we see in a future episode, she just stuffs stuff under that bed to hide from life. And that's weird to me. But we see her going through the streets dressed as, I guess, the devilish angel with the wings, because evil angels, the devil himself is an angel. He's just the one who chose to do evil. And she wants to go back to the crime scene where the assault occurred with the expectation you could find the person who did this to you. And criminals do. That is a real, true, data-driven, empirical data, vetted, established piece of research. Criminals do return to the scene of the crime. So she's not just implicitly crazy. She's not over the top because she's arguing with bigots online and anyone who doesn't agree with her. No, she still sees it as she's defending the right to exist, the right to defend others, and the need to be able to speak up. We go to episode 10 with her preparing or having flashbacks of her father bringing her McDonald's as a child. And he's such a hustler, but I love his voice. Y'all, when Daddy walked through the door, you wouldn't believe it. I'm going to try and mark this so at 13 minutes, we start talking about episode 10. All I could do, it took me back to my corporate finance professor, Dr. Christian Fugard. Look him up. He's a genuinely sweet guy, all around, like full-time parent, full-time professor, demanding as ever. Actually, I feel like all my professors were super demanding. I went to an HBCU, so they black, you black, and they gonna crack the whip. They gonna crack the stick. Do what you like. And to me, I just felt like it was a handoff at home. Like, everybody loves to believe, like, oh, if you had these African parents, you couldn't do that. Y'all do realize we may have been on the continent of North America for a few generations. At the core, you cannot run from whom you are. Those extreme demands of black parents run quite parallel to what I trust Afro-Caribbeans, Africans, those in the diaspora can appreciate come from the motherland, which is, ain't no special needs here. You're going to specially need to get some off your behind when I make sure you get this. Like, honestly, his voice when he walked through that door was just comforting. It just felt like it was tattooed to my heart. And it didn't immediately put it in my mind, because when I saw him, I thought he looked cute, like a handsome black man. but that voice is distinctively Dr. Fugar. And I honestly can't remember where Dr. Fugar is from. But I'll ask him. I'll email him and find out. And I know it's going to be real random. But he will answer. At any rate, we see young Arabella is so eager, like, to prove everybody. I told you Daddy was coming. Well, Daddy was supposed to take them to McDonald's, not bring McDonald's. She's eating so fast, her mom even, warns her, Miss Grace, you're going to get sick, stop. And ultimately, she does throw up. Graciously, we see young Arabella never learned tweet, and her brother calls her out on that. And young Arabella doesn't see the dynamics going on between her parents. Apparently, they've always lived apart. I can relate. I grew up as such. But in their living apart, we learn later, T questioning, so are they a couple or not a couple? How does that work? And I get it. I went through the same thing for the most part. Everybody just assumed my parents were married and together. And that was the furthest thing from the truth. But she gets a call from her father, present day Arabella, while she's going through her place. And she's like, are we going to see you at Mom's? No. It's a joke. I was like, daddy jokes kill me. I mean, I like it when my corny brother tries it. And you can tell that's like he's getting old. Oh, my Lord. He really thinks he's funny, too. But anyway, not like that. Like, Dad, that's not a good joke. Are you going to be at the party or what? So, of course, you fast forward to Ben practicing lines with T. She's up for a role in a commercial as like the lead actress. KWAME is working out as always. KWAME is back on the market, and he's randomly hooking up through Grindr. I don't know if it's because Bella has pushed him in her words that she spoke to him while they were at the paint and sip, or if it's, he's just back into his routine. I just hate how he's carelessly, giving away himself, because I don't get the sense he's doing it in an empowered sense. He's doing it in a way like he's trying to cover up or handle some hurt there or scar that's there. I don't know. They don't really lay it out, but let me know in the comments what you think, because maybe y'all are like able to see, no, Joyce, he's fine. Girl, he just likes to have sex. That's just what he does. But it looks like it's painful to him. Arabella ultimately meets back up with her original friend that went out with her that night, and he did seem really suspect, like something happened, he was involved in the rape. And it's good they connect. He switched jobs. He's explained, because people like popping up in my job. Mostly T, because she was trying to keep him away from Arabella, and now Bella, because she's at his job trying to talk to him about everything that's going on. It's good to see them come back to like place of number one, where they're at ground zero and they're friends again. They like each other and they're okay with that. But it's also unnerving, because you got to question, okay, what would have come out of this had it not been for that night where he left her? And I'm glad they discussed it as well. I'm glad Ben is there to help T go through her lines. She helps Arabella understand you don't have money. So we know Ben covers the rent for her again. He's a good friend. And at the end of the day, I'm glad they're able to, again, refocus, be honest with one another. Whether the rape kit shows it or not, whether her memory is coming back or not, she knows her friend didn't rape her. But her friend then discloses, hey, it's not just my L, T, he alludes that T was the one who told me to leave you. What is this about? She should have 2 L's. She told me to leave you and all this happened. At any rate, I felt bad, because that's when Arabella puts it together. Wait, what? And that's when he realizes, oh, crap. She didn't tell you. And I just let out the cat out the bag. Arabella meets with T. She tries to bring it up. T gets the sense she's trying to bring it up. She breaks into tears. And she's like, you know what? Thank you for being a good friend this past year. Essentially, she doesn't drag her through the mud to identify, why did you do this? Why did you let it happen? Simon is his name. So Simon is being questioned and recouping with Arabella. But Arabella is able to talk with Terry and decide, your life is my life, your death is my death. The ultimate commitment they provided one another as friends. Now, I would like to talk about Miss Grace, or Mama Grace, which is Arabella's mom, and how she, as a true adult, you don't have to agree with it. If you saw Fences, you may never understand that lifestyle. But I'm kind of privy to it growing up. where mom lives in one place with the kids and dad lives over here. Daddy's at the house for the birthday dinner. Mom looks good coming to the table. Child, Mama Grace has got it together, and I'm glad they chose Miss Michelle Greenedge. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing. Shout out to the sister. She look good. She look like every woman I know. When it's time to cook, clean, you look like anything. But when it's time to sit at that table and get it together, woo, she was whipped. Hair was laid. Outfits was together. Auntie Lenora came over, which we later found out had some real connection and contact with Daddy Kojo, which irks my soul. But the way Arabella was able to remember all of this was the daddy said, well, the car you're talking about, the car you liked and you remember? No, let's go ahead and tell her. It was stolen because of you. You had to have come over, left my window open. People were following you and they stole my car. They stole everything. And it took me 10 years to get that to me. Boy, baby. Look here, my daddy. So my daddy, you could be 40, 50, 60. God, rest his soul. He's no longer with us. But he will take you back, honey. You could have did something at 4 years old. Look, my brother broke a key off in the car trying to unlock the door. My daddy brought that up until the day he passed. You hear me? That was every bit of 40 years. So I understand daddy, like, look, I'm just explaining the story for what happened then. But it took Arabella back. It was obviously a traumatic experience that she couldn't recall until that moment. And in it taking her back, she remembers going to change her clothes because T is mocking her. She wants to hook up with some boy from school. She promises it'll happen. She sneaks over to her father's house, and that's what T asks all the questions. Are they a couple? Are they not a couple? Why do they live separately? Is this his place? If it's his place, why don't you have a key? What's going on here? Arabella jumps through the kitchen window, goes in. She sees a lady in her panties. Apparently it's the same lady that she just saw come over to her mother's house to bring a birthday gift that she didn't recall. And Lenora asks, you don't remember me? Nope, apparently not. Child, if that ain't Papa Kojo's ABC, Ace Boon Coon, his boo thing, his old lady, his side piece, whatever you want to call her. Let me tell you why. Because Arabella was worried. So she went and talked to her mama about it. And she was like, Mom, I'm sorry I didn't say anything, but who is Lenora? Or how is this a situation? Mama knows, and Mama says it. Oh, that's your little daddy plaything. Baby, look, all relationships, we were just talking about this because I'm talking about Jerry from Liberty University. But all relationships have some kind of understanding. And if you've worked out that understanding, Will and Jada, you've worked out that understanding, Oprah and Stedman, you've worked out that understanding, your church lady and your friend in the neighborhood, you've worked out that understanding, the deacon and the librarian. If you have an understanding, make sure if it works for you, I'm good for the goose is good for the gander. My only point, like I tell people, just leave kids out of it. Animals, kids, the vulnerable populations. But if you have an understanding, congratulations. I'm okay. Y'all are being adults who can talk through, walk through, and work on that. But let me know what y'all think. Would you have stayed with Daddy Kojo, brought him around, kept it from the kids, not discussed it? I feel like that's very adult. But after babysitting this cat for all of maybe 2.5 months now, I understand. I used to call these kind of women ghetto grandmamas. Like, what kind of ghetto grandmama don't want to watch their own grandkids? And what kind of ghetto grandmama talks about the parent in front of the grandchild? That's crazy. Honey, I have watched this cat relentlessly longer than I wanted to. I understand. Sometimes stuff just slips. You be just saying and just talking. I know y'all gonna be like, a cat and a child is two different things. How dare you? But I promise you, I just walked by one day. I had to clean that litter box again. I had to give him fresh water because he's demanding. I promise y'all, I'd be like, ooh, I can't wait for your owner to get you. I don't do that whole mama, granny, and all that. My mama does. That's pet. That's not my offspring. Anyway, it's just offensive. It feels like they're abusing you, like they're taking advantage of your kindness. Like, come get your cat. Ain't you got to worry about this cat? Ain't you going to call and check in, make sure he all right? Don't you want to speak to him? We got FaceTime. And y'all, you better believe these pets get lonely. These pets know when, like, their human that they've imprinted on is not around, isn't giving them attention. And you can see the loneliness. I'm looking back because he's nearby over there somewhere. You can see the depression and the loneliness out of him. You see what I mean? The long and short of it is, this is what was exciting about episode 10 to me. That Mama Grace had it in her mind, which is, I look good, I feel good, what is there to worry about? And that works for her. You know, I'm glad Michaela or Arabella asked the questions. I'm impressed her brother Nicholas made fun of her for not learning tweet, even the most basic tweet, to be able to comprehend something. I am perplexed at these parents who do arrive in the new countries. And I get they want to assimilate, but teach these children, you know, your heritage. How do you let the tongue get lost? And that really matters because French Creole is really dying out. Acadian Creole is Acadian French is dying out faster than it can be brought back, apparently. But I feel like we all lose when something gets lost with each generation. And I would like those things to be preserved. No, it's not my culture, but we're humankind. And I feel there's value in keeping and maintaining those things all the way around. So from this, I appreciate Bella questioning her mother. I appreciate her coming clean, even if it's, you know, eventually about her assault. But most definitely about, you know, discussing her father's indiscretions. And I don't even believe mother really explained what that was and what it should be. We didn't get to see on the outside. But y'all, what I also like is KWAME gets to be introduced to a new man that he found online who is cooking. Do you hear me? Cooking real food and making mojitos. I don't even drink. But hell, you out here cooking. Excuse me. I'm willing to meet with you. Grindr or not. I'm not trying to change your orientation. I'm just saying. A good cook is hard to find. Quality food. But he pushes back on KWAME about, you know, we can have sex another time. Can we get to know each other? It's essentially the guys who want to write you off on Tinder to be like, this is a hookup site. Maybe 7 years ago, 4 years for sure. But in the last 5 years, people have been getting married via Tinder. They have met and matched and married because of Tinder. So move on, bro. I get it if it's new to you and you never got a chance to experience it. So that's why you eager to make this out to be something else. But, move on. This is not just some random hookup site that you think it to be. Just be adults. Like KWAME had to finally come to terms with. He was like, well, what would you like from me? How about a hug? And KWAME like broke down. And that's what also solidified for me. KWAME wants more than just these random hookups like he was doing earlier that day or that week. He got 3 guys off the public transit. 3? Yo, that's... Hey. Isn't that a lot of bottoming? Like, I don't know. Hopefully it's something they'll address in season 2. Like, what is that about? But I do appreciate KWAME for having reservations on being good enough for the new guy. And he's not like that. So how do I, you know, meet that match? I had a guy basically tell me directly, you know, Joyce, as your sorority sister told you or your friend, whomever it was, I ain't shit, I'm not shit. And broke it down from his initial fiance to how the next set of kids came about and how he doesn't want to ruin my life. And this is someone I've known since middle school. So, like, went to school with, time you grow apart, you re-link up and say, hey, what's going on with you? Blah, 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 blah. And this is a guy I consider to be like the Carlton of our community. Really smart dude. Played golf, played tennis in the 80s and the 90s when that was not a thing you just saw in our community, nor our community neighborhood schools. But we went through a magnet program, then we both opted to go to the neighborhood community school. But yeah, that was something I couldn't fault him for being honest. But it hurt because it also told me, but I didn't want to ask because I have a daddy who taught me, don't ask the question you don't want the answers to. You can't just get it together. I'm not worth it. You don't deem me to be worthy of pulling yourself together. Because being help KWAME see just that. What do you do when someone is too good for you? Or they're at a place, they're ready for you, and they're everything you think you want, but you're just not ready for them right then and there. Like Ben said, you get ready. You step up. You make it happen. With that being said, that's a recap. Yay! So let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. I know people are barely watching this, but I look forward to dialogue.